Hello and welcome to Amethyst Style Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today I thought that we would make a fun ornament to hang on the Christmas tree using a non-Christmassy stamp set, which is the Beautiful Day, and we're going to use the butterfly this time. And we're going to make it into something which is completely different. So let me get this out. This actually is a wood-mounted stamp set, so we don't need one of our blocks. And we are going to be inking it up in a good black ink. So let's just ink this up. And we need to stamp the butterfly out once. So as it's quite a large size block, I would just leave it down for a few seconds so it absorbs the ink into the cardstock. And then we can just pick it up. And then we are going to ink it up again. And we are going to do exactly the same. So we need 2 butterflies. And let me just make sure I've got those in on there. So I've got them both in, and again just press it down gently and just leave it to absorb in for a few seconds and then pick it up. I'm just going to put that onto one side and I will clean it later. And then we are going to take our stamping blends. Now you can use whatever colour medium that you want. I just thought that I would use the stamping blends this time, and we are going to use a red, an orange and another orange. So it is the real red in the, and I will just check to see, so it is the light cherry cobbler, it is the dark calypso coral, and it's the light calypso coral. So we're going to start with the dark calypso coral, and we are just going to colour this in, and we're only colouring in the top of the butterfly wings. And again, doesn't have to be hugely precise. I'm going to just do this very quickly just so that you have an idea. The blends are lovely because, being alcohol markers, they absorb into the paper really quickly. So I'm just laying down some red colour around just the top of the wings. We don't need the rest of it, and it will become apparent why as we go through. And let's do this other one along here. The blends now come in all sorts of different colours. We're introducing more with each catalogue, so do have a look if you're into your colouring. Do have a look because there's lots of lovely colours to choose from now. I'm slowly building up my sets, but as I say, they do blend beautifully, and I'm literally just laying it on like this and taking that in and just sort of blending it through as I go, and then we'll have a little bit of the light just in on the bottom, which will actually be the top, but all will become clear shortly. I love using all of our stamp sets for things that you wouldn't necessarily think of doing with them, and I was cutting this gorgeous butterfly out for something, and I discovered that I could make a really rather pretty ornament. So now we are going to fussy cut this top one out. And the nice thing about this is the lines on this are really quite big, so it's something that you don't have to spend a huge amount of time doing. And we're literally just going to take the wing out. So just following it round and just taking out the wing. Yes, I love this stamp set. You can do it in all sorts of things. So you can do it in vellum, which is really rather nice. And it's just such a pretty butterfly. And as I say, if you're not somebody who likes fussy cutting, which I know a lot of you aren't, because you don't have, like me, sometimes I don't have a lot of patience to do things. You really can literally just whiz through this. So that's one, and then we're just going to do exactly the same with the other one. Now we are going to use part of the bottom wing, but I will show you that afterwards. I just wanted to do this bit out first. So as I say, I've done a few ornaments. I've done the tree. I did the star the other day, and as I say, on our Christmas trees we don't necessarily have to be very traditional, and this really isn't very traditional. I love the panels on this, and I think that they look very similar to the panels that you have on the Tiffany style lamps. I really love Tiffany style lamps, which have those sort of stained glass panels in them, which look absolutely beautiful. So now we are going to take just two of these bottom ones out. So now we've cut the first pieces out. They're fairly simple to do, and we can colour this bit in afterwards because we only need a tiny part of this. So that's one, and let me just very quickly cut this out. I wanted to do it in real time, as I do like to do things in real time, because it gives you the idea of how long it'll actually take you to do this. Now obviously I am rushing this bit, but you'll spend just a little bit more time. But most of these projects you can make in less than sort of 15 minutes by the time you've got all your bits and pieces together. So now what we are going to do is we are going to put one piece across on the other like that, and I am going to use, as I always do, some wet glue, and I don't know whether this is the one that is oh yes, there's some glue in here. I was just wondering. I've got one which is almost finished with, and I am going to get my mat out, which I do need to give a bit of a clean because it's got a bit of sticky and stuff on it, but that's fine. So I don't get that onto my work surface, and we're just going to line up the top of the lamp like this. Whoop. Says me sliding it about all over the place. So we're just going to put that up like that. Let's make sure that I've got this underneath. I have to do it in my fingers like this, and we're just going to line up the top so that it looks, get that bit of glue off of there, so it looks like a lamp, you know, the hanging Tiffany lamps. And then we're going to do exactly the same. So I'm going to put that there and allow that glue to just set off for a second. We're going to do exactly the same to the other one. So just a little bit of wet glue down this seam, so I can just put those together. And again, we're just going to put it together like this so it lines up with the top. And just squeeze that together a little bit. As I say, when you're doing your wet glue, it takes just a few seconds for it to dry, and I always try and speed it up with the camera. Okay, and then we would put this piece on here. Now what we need to do is we need to, and I'm going to put these together first. So let me get these little pieces up. We are going to put these together like that, just one on top of the other, because we're not going to use all of it, but we just need a little bit to go on here. It says me this glue is coming to its end, and so we're just going to put this on top of here. So you've got it when it's hanging on the tree, it will be both sides. so you don't need to have it just one side or the other. And we are just going to take, we need one more of the blends, and we're going to use a yellow. So I'm just going to colour in just the bottom part, because the top part is not going to be seen. So we're just going to colour in just this little bottom bit, just up to about there, maybe just up there just in case. Turn it over and do exactly the same on the other side. As I say, I love the way the blends literally, they give such a professional colouring look. You can see I'm literally just scribbling it on here, but once it's dried it just gives such a lovely look. Okay, so we are then going to put this one in over the top, and we want it to, when you look at the other side, you want just a little bit to be hanging out at the bottom, so it looks like the light bulbs. So literally just about that much. So we're going to take the wet glue and put it on like this on the top bit, and then just put that in down on here. And again, I am going to pick it up so I can have a look from the other side, because I don't want too much to be hanging out. So I want just about that much. So when you turn it over, you know exactly where you're gluing it on. And then just glue that on there. And then we are going to take some glue all the way around on here. So just cover it. You can use whatever glue you want, as long as it's relatively strong to keep it together on the tree. So I would probably, I always use the wet glue. You could probably use tear and tape. You can use our two-sided sheets. So we're going to put that down there, and before we put it together, we are just going to put a bit of twine through, so we've got something to hang it on. So let me just have a look and see what twine we can use. I think I'm just going to use a little bit of the, do I want it in red or do I want it in green? Probably in the red. So let's use the thick, says me trying to get it out of its little pot in here. Here we go. So I'm just going to take enough to hang it on the tree, which is probably about that amount, and then just cut that off. And then I'm just going to lay that down on the center like that, bring it up through on the top, and then we're going to just pop the other side on. And again, try and line it up as best as you can. Because you've fussy cut two pieces out, it probably won't line up completely, but that doesn't matter too much, because we can just trim that off. So just make sure that our glue has taken on both sides. Like this. Now, if you have got our new black blend, you can use that. I haven't yet, so I'm going to use the Stampin' Right markers. So it's me opening my other container. I keep most of my bits and pieces in our lovely cases. You can buy the empty cases for storage, and they really are perfect. So I'm just taking the black marker, and what we're going to do is the little pieces that are showing round the sides, we're just going to colour those in with the black marker. So it gives the large edge again round the sides, and also means that you haven't got those little white pieces showing. So if you pick it up, you can actually sort of follow it round. That's fine on there. Little piece up here which needs to have a little bit more on. Like that. Flip it over, and we've got a little bit on here. Just bring that round. Round on the edge on here. So as I say, you don't have to be hugely accurate with your cutting out, because you can just fill in those edges with a black marker and it gives the lines that you would normally have, like that. And then, just for a little bit of good measure, and to give it a bit of a twinkle, I'm going to use some of our Wink of Stella, give it a shake, take the top off like this, and I'm just going to, you won't be able to see this on the camera because Wink of Stella is incredibly shimmery, but the lights of the camera don't seem to pick it up too much, so I'm just giving just a few little strokes on here. I don't want it all over, but I just want it to give just a little bit, and then just turn it over and do exactly the same on the other side. And as I say, just some little bits to just pick up a little bit of sparkle on there, a little bit at the bottom, a little bit on the other side, like that. And if you were to do several of them, I think that they look really pretty, and I think they look just like, I'm going to pick it up that way because, as I say, it's very difficult for me to have it hanging up because you just see the top of it. But I think that that looks very Tiffany-like. And as I say, is another pretty little ornament that you could have hanging on your tree. And something that's a little bit different. So people that don't want to, the necessary classic things on your tree, you've got something that's a little bit different. So another idea for you, and thank you so much for watching me, and do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.